Okay, now we're recording. So I love tapping. I love anytime I'm like really working through something. Like I really love so I love Tap with Brad stuff. I typically send the Tapping Solutions initial video to explain tapping to people. Like if they're really new to it, like they just have a great YouTube video and that's usually the one I send. But I really love Tap with Brad, but one of the things that I love like in the tapping routine that Tap with Brad doesn't do is Gala Darling does it. She taps her wrist. Like, I mean, she's not the only one. But I love, honestly, it's one of the most soothing things to me. Like when I'm doing the tapping, I feel like almost the most that like my favorite tapping points, and one of the things that I actually have told people to do, because this is one of the things I do. Oh, thanks for the heart. Like, one of the things that I do is if I'm like just processing through something, I'll just sit here and tap. Oh, here, let me like let people in. Um, I'll just sit here and like tap like on this spot, or like my favorite really is like sitting here and I just tap my wrists together. Like if I'm like just trying to process through something kind of quickly, I'll just sit there. I didn't do it this morning. I should have done it this morning. Like I didn't do it this morning, but and hi Callie, I want to actually say hi. I didn't do it this morning, but if I'm just needing to process through something for a minute, I sit there and I just do my favorite points. Like I'll do here, or sometimes I'll just sit here and do this, like just like on this little like, because I'll do two hands on my face a lot of times for like the tapping motions. I prefer doing that just as like other things to play with. But depending on where I feel, and I actually will kind of sometimes just intuitively feel into like which tapping point I need to tap. And then whatever I'm processing through, or if I'm just trying to get my body to relax, like I'll sit there and like take a deep breath and like, just work through whatever's going on and like sit there and just keep tapping. So it's just something else fun to play with your tapping stuff. I'm really, really, really glad you're using that technique though. And I'm glad that I like that all started with me. So I'm glad you're doing other fun things with it. Um, but that's, like, really beneficial to me. Um, I actually Callie, do you have it is there anything specific you want me to focus on, Callie, before I, like, just start? Nobody else has anything specific yet.
Um, yes, I do.
Oh, yeah.
Um, okay, so there's a training that I want to do,
Mhm.
and I've been having dreams about it.
Oh, that's fun.
And so my part is like practicing, like handing over the trust to the universe to like bring in the financial component,
Mhm.
and then also like opening up to receive.
Mhm.
Um, so like, cause I can like hit when I get too much into my mind, I really like close down on receiving, especially financially.
Mhm.
And yet, like, because I've been having these dreams, like, it keeps reminding me, like, oh, yeah, the possibility is there.
Mhm.
And why not play with this? So that's what I wanted to drop in.
Oh, awesome. Yay. Actually, so one of the things that came up, the very first thing that came up, oh, I'll read your comment in a second, Lise. Um, the very first thing that came up was like release receiving the money for it now. It was like, who cares? Like, who cares if I get the money right now? So one of the fun things about something like that, it's elective. Like it's not a survival thing to have it. So if you get into like, oh well, who cares? If I get to receive it, I get to receive it. If I don't receive it, I don't receive it. Who cares? Like just getting in this relaxed vibe of like, who cares? So the fuck what? Like, like if I get it, great. If I don't get it, so the fuck what? Like you're guiding me to it. I see that you're like leading me towards it. But maybe like it is releasing the timeline. It's going, okay, this is coming to me. It doesn't have to be forced right now. Anytime that I've watched people like or seen myself or like one of the things I dealt with over the past year, I was like, should I be this open about it? But sure. I was renting a condo from a friend of mine. She decided to sell it. She decided to sell it the same week of my birthday. That was also the week that I was getting my dog. And I basically had like no time to get it ready. And she was in very, very frantic energy. She ended up having to rent the condo recently. So like it definitely did not work out. And I wanted to tell her that she just wasn't in a place that was like, oh, definitely not open to receive that. And so when you get in this like frantic energy, like you're not going to receive what you want for one. You're just going to be frantic and stressed. And then it's like, oh my gosh, but I thought I was supposed to do this and I felt the need to do this and now it's not coming and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, it's just not like none of that works. And so like, especially like I said, with the, like elective stuff, like there's a pair of jeans that I like love that I'm debating keeping. And I'm like, okay, well, because I bought two pair and I'm like, my size has been changing enough and they're not like cheap jeans. So I'm like, okay, I'm like, if I feel the need to keep them and I feel like an extra like 200 and whatever dollars comes in, fantastic. If not, so the fuck what? I can have another pair of jeans later. And if you treat things more like that, like who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. It's so elective. Then it makes it easier for them. If the funds flow in, great. If they don't, then be like, okay, there's obviously some guidance here. Maybe this round isn't meant for me. Maybe this isn't the time I'm meant to do this. And I know for me, like over the past year, like there's been a couple of things that normally I would have been like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this to come around so I could learn this or do whatever. And it's not like in my being, it was like, it is not the right time. There is way too much shit going on. And it's like, it'll come around again. Or whenever you need that information, it'll come around again. And it puts that relaxed pulse on it where you're not in this like intense, this must happen now. Even with this call, I kept feeling the need to do something in like October. And my October was like relatively light and it got very, very crazy, like very, very busy. Like I'm sure y'all noticed, like, y'all got like 2 emails about this, like, and some reminder emails, like, and I think I posted it on social media like twice. Like, I think I mentioned it at the end of like 2 or 3 videos, like, and it was just like, okay, I just released it. I'm like, who cares? I'm showing up for whoever wants to show up. This is me finally back in a place that I feel like I can show up again. So the fuck what? Like, I'm just gonna be and be present. And even this evening, I planned on looking way cuter for you guys, and I'm like, "Oh," like, "Whatever." Like, it's like it's just getting that energy of, like, it's okay. It's okay to release, it's okay to receive when it's time to receive, and it's okay for me to not put anything specific or pressure behind it. Like, nothing has to, like and if anything ever comes in as, like, but I felt like I know I have examples of this, I know they'll come in a second. I mean, Daphne is technically kind of an example of this. So I manifested this really cute little puppy over here. I don't think everyone got to see her. There she is. I manifested her. I manifested a lot of things that I like. I suddenly decided that I wanted. I manifested this job. I manifested a job I thought I wanted, like crazily. Like it was like had the same dietitian there for 7 years. All of a sudden, my phone was blowing up, offering me this, like, wanting me to come look at this position, offering me this position. But just because you manifest something, you still want to make sure that you tap it and go, is this really what I want to receive right now? When I like agreed to Daphne, I could feel like, are we sure this is the best timing? And the poor thing has had to move with me 3 times, like, not be like, have like the best training in the world, not have as much playtime as she probably should have, like all these things. And I could feel that. And rather than checking in with the manifestation and going, okay, I manifested it because I was in a great space to receive, like also checking in and going, is this still what I want to do with it? So like you're receiving all these dreams over this course of this program and I'm not saying this is the case for this is just like in general speaking out to everyone on the call, but like say the money comes in, still always check in and go, is this still what I want to do? Is this still how I want to utilize this money? Is this still what feels right to me? Is this what still feels peaceful to me? Because she also broke her little leg. She cost me a lot of money this summer. And like, and actually that was a funny story. That day, that Daphne broke her leg, earlier that afternoon, I like literally had realized that if I paid actually like evened out, because like I think everyone here knows my husband and I are almost divorced. Um, if I actually evened out the debt that we had with like the rest of like the house, like not the rest of the house money, but like with what I was owed, it would be the least amount of debt that I've had. And I don't have a ton left, but like I paid off a fuck ton at this point, and I realized it'd be the least amount that I would have had since like 2000, and I'm trying to even think. 2013? Probably 2014. 2014 was probably the last time I had that level of debt. And I could feel that like that being intimidating in my being and too much too fast or whatever it was. And I was like, I need to do some tapping on this later. And that evening she broke her leg, and it was like it was $4,500 that I was about to pay off. That exact amount was what her surgery ended up being, was $4,500. And so to me in that moment, like one of the things that I wish I had done, like one, I wish when it came to actually getting Daphne, I love her. I don't regret her. This is all like, it's all learning experience as always. I hate how it all had all the extra stress that I had throughout the summer, all the extra stress she had having to move and do all this kind of stuff like that probably wasn't the best for her or the best for me. So one, even though I had the funds there and I had the opportunity there, I wish that I truly checked in and gone, what do I really want and need? And what I really wanted and needed was a break away with my boyfriend, like, or one of my good friends. That's what I really wanted and needed. And instead, I was like, well, I manifested it. This was coming to me. I was receiving this information, all this kind of stuff. So now it's here. So it's like, well, of course, now I should move forward with this. And I remember feeling that energy and feeling, because I already told people, I was going to get this dog, that I couldn't go back and change my mind. And then all of a sudden that same week, I still could have made a different decision. And again, I love her, but I'm also allergic to her. I apparently have a dog allergy now that I did not know that I had. So I have to live on allergy medicine as well. And so I wish I checked in then. And then again, like on top of that, because I had some guilt around like letting myself have that and then realizing what a hectic situation is going to be. And then all of a sudden I was having to move out of this place, trying to find a place to live with a new puppy. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And it was unnecessary crazy. And it was like, okay, again, just always checking in, going, just because I wanted this, like one of the big things that I've been working on this year, especially, is I have changed and grown so, so much. um there's things that have changed that I need to like work on differently. I have new levels of trauma in certain ways that I'm working on, and I also have just new insights and new lack of judgments and new, like, just all sorts of new things. And I'm really redefining who I am and what I enjoy and what I want now. Where do I want my life to be now? What do I want it to look like now? And everything's very up in the air, which is exciting and terrifying all at the same time. And even more terrifying a couple months ago when it was all really, really up in the air. But like, it's okay to constantly redefine what you want. And this has been the biggest lesson for me this year, is going, it's okay for what you wanted 6 months ago to not be what you want now. It's okay for what you were trying to manifest, like in like however long ago, or 5 days ago, or even 24 hours ago. If suddenly you're like, yeah, I don't think I really want that. But it just opens you up to the receiving. Because at the end of the day, a lot of that stuff is just fun ways to open up to receiving. Like these these dreams, and I'm not saying that this applies to you, Callie. This is just stuff that's flowing through. But these dreams might be a way to just be helping you open up to receive. Whether it ends up being for that or not, it's helping you play, because play always helps us receive better. It helps us like get excited. Like excited manifesting is going like, okay, like one of the things that I've been playing with is I'm like, how much do we want to release and play with coming back to us? Like it's just a fun game. Like I never thought I've wanted this like version of a Beauty and the Beast library, which is actually legitimately where I got to sign my divorce paperwork, was in this gorgeous library, like law library, like conference room that had like a tropical feel, but it felt straight out of Beauty and the Beast. And that made me so happy. And I want to receive that in other ways. But one of the things I've been playing with is like, I love to read. I love books. It is hard for me to part with my books, but I'm like, does this feel good anymore? can we release it and know like anything, any paperback books or hardcover books that I release out into the universe or somebody else to read because I've like read them? Of course, not all of them. There's signed ones and things I don't want to do that with, but I'm like, what if I play with releasing things that like I'm just done with for now and no get to come back to me? I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment now, not a big townhome like I was, like there's not the same space and it's safe to work on releasing and playing with releasing and receiving. And sometimes the releasing and the receiving, it's the releasing what we thought we wanted, what we thought we needed, what we thought we needed to have, and then allowing yourself to open up and receive what comes next. And a lot of times when we release these things, when we release stuff that like is no longer necessarily like best for us or no longer serving us in the best way, like even better comes in. Um that is like a huge like one of the things that once the divorce is final, I'm going to talk a lot more about this. But one of the biggest lessons that came out of this divorce was I put this off for a very long time. This is not I know to a lot of the world, like or a lot of people that knew us and things like that, my divorce was very shocking. It was ironically, it was not shocking to a lot of people like our family who knew us, just because they knew us and knew how different we were and things like that. But I really held on to it because there were still good pieces, there were still good things in that. There were still things that were working, but it wasn't fitting anymore. It didn't feel right anymore. It didn't feel good anymore. We didn't seem to be serving each other well anymore. We seemed like we were just like hindering each other from really moving forward. And literally, like, basically the moment I released Jimmy, I met the current guy that I'm dating like a week after, like the week that I separated. Like I didn't start dating him right then, but like the week that I separated is when I met Ryan, who's like all these things that I was trying to manifest in my relationship. Like to me, it wasn't shocking. Like I've been working on manifesting this better relationship at this point for like 4 or 5 years, but really actively working on it for at least the last like 2, 3 years, like and so of course, like the next best is gonna swoop in, and the same for him. I set strong intentions for what I wanted for him, and I mean, I don't know her, I have not met her, but I know when we had to go close our bank account the other day, they were both up at 8 a.m. working out together, and he got to move into another townhouse with her and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's just it's allowing yourself to receive the better. When you release the things that are no longer serving, it's opening up to receiving as well, and it's not the, give all your shit away, including the stuff that you need for tomorrow, but there really is, I don't use biblical references like often, but this one isn't coming up a lot. When Jesus was telling disciples, give your things away and come follow me, he was really just teaching the releasing, receiving, method. That's all he was really doing. He was saying you'll have more. There's always more available, like more, there'll be more if you come with me, just release. It's okay to, it's safe to release. And I do know that for us, a lot of times, like sometimes we get into the releasing being stuff or maybe releasing some funds to this, but there's also releasing energetically and releasing outcomes energetically and releasing like, yes, maybe we want this thing or we thought we wanted this thing, but if this thing doesn't work out right this second, that's okay, because it just means like something better, or something greater, or something more fun is going to come along, and it all gets to be really good. It all gets to be more of what we actually needed. And whatever that thing was helping us practice at the vibration that we want to be at. One of the things that I'm really actively doing now, this is not where I want to stay. This apartment, well, one, I keep noticing how dark my screen is. I do really apologize because that will definitely be that dark on, on the replay. But this apartment literally will like vibrate when a train goes through. It reminds me of the My Cousin Vinny apartment, like, or not apartment, but there was if you've ever seen the movie My Cousin Vinny, there is a train that goes through it crazy early in the morning, and it literally shakes, vibrates, makes a ton of noise. Earlier today, I have like sunscreen sitting over on my bookshelf that's over here that was doing this, and this is not uncommon. I don't have things on the walls because they might stay up, but I'm also a little nervous that they're gonna stay up. Like, this is not where I really wanna be. This isn't my ideal environment. It's not even my ideal environment for manifesting. But one of the things that I still do is that I'm doing the same stuff that I oh, let's see. Oh, you're so I'm so glad you hopped on. Thanks for coming, Luce. Um, oh, that's so sweet. She said, "So glad I'm back." That's sweet. I'm glad I'm back too. Um, but anyways, one of the things that I've really been working on is going, this is not my permanent environment. I'm going to go back to the basic shit that I started doing years ago and going in my environment that I want to be in. Like, I spend time in friends' houses. I make sure not to spend too much time in the apartment because it's not like not that organized. Like, it's getting there, but it's not that organized. I'm trying to go through all this shit still, stuff's like packed away, but there's other stuff that's out for me to go through. And, there's like a bag of mail that I still need to finish going through. Like, it's just not, it's not the true environment I want to be in. I try to make sure that my bed and this surrounding area at least feels good to me in this room, so that I have this space. But other than that, like, I try to make sure that, like, I go participate in environments that help me feel good, that I get out of here and go to places that feel good. I go to places that I want to be. I go to where I want my next home, and I don't limit. And I know this is all a very long spiel, but I don't limit. Like, I was looking at next places I might want to live, and I'm like, well, where do I want to be? I don't know. Let's just play in the area. And I don't limit price points. I don't limit anything like that, because the moment that I get into, and this applies for some people and some people it doesn't, but the moment that I get into, "Oh, that's not what I wanna spend," it's like, "Well, who the fuck knows what you're gonna spend in 8 months? It's 8 months from now. I have 8 months to be here, and maybe not." And on top of that, I've been playing with them. You don't have to stay here for 8 months. Like, who knows what could come up? I've had 3 winning lottery tickets in a row now. I've been playing with manifesting a lottery win just for the fun of it. I haven't even put a load of energy into it. I've had 4 or 5 total at this point. But the last 3, I have 3 in my little work purse to turn in. One is a $7 winner, one's a $4 winner, and one's a free ticket. But they certainly say you're a winner on them. And that's a whole, I'd never had winning lottery tickets before this summer, ever. Like, I picked them up all the time, and I don't think, I'm trying to remember, I may have had one at one point, but, like, I realized I was in the vibration of always expecting them to be a losing ticket. So of course they're gonna be a losing ticket, no matter whether you pick up one on a random or pick it on a regular basis. So I started getting in the energy of it being a winner. And so, like, and so I now have 3 in a row. So I'm like, this is cool. On top of that, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but a lot more lottery winners have been happening in Florida and in my area. One, like, the Publix I used to live next to, that was my Publix. Like, that was that $1 billion winner not that long ago, like in Neptune Beach. Like, that was my Publix. I even felt to go buy a ticket there, like right before that. And like, and so to me, I'm like, well, that's such close proximity. And then there's been another winner, another $1 million winner in Jacksonville. And there was like another one, like not too far away. There's one in Tampa, like, and I'm like, it's all getting closer and closer and closer. It's just sitting in that energy of receiving and just playing in it and going, like, nothing has to mean anything on what I can have and when I can have it. And again, it's all just checking in to go, what do I really want? What do I really want? If I manage to receive, and a great game to play, and again, I know I'm just speaking all this out, it's just because it's flowing through. A great game to play is, okay, if I did win the lottery, what would I start doing with it? Would I want the full payout? Would I want it the annuity or whatever, where they pay it out for so many years? Like, how would I want to play with it? What's the first thing I would do, and just play with that in your mind as if it's real. And you can do that for money you're manifesting in any way. Like, if you want to manifest like more funds for something, like, you can sit there and play like, okay, well, say I received $5,000 this week. Say I received an extra 5 grand. Would I still allot it out in the way that I'm thinking that I will? Like, would I still like spend it this way, or would I want to spend it this way? Or like, what do I want to put it towards? And it's just kind of playing the game with your brain, and it just gets used to receiving at that higher level, and then of course you get to receive it in. So anyways, I know that that answered some of your question and then went way past it. So but is there anything that y'all wanted to say, or had any questions or anything of like that giant spiel that I just did? I'm good.
Um, hey Casey. So my question is like, I've been playing around with it a little bit, like, okay, universe, if I'm meant to do this program, like
Mhm.
you just make it happen, like you take care of the funds.
Mhm.
Is that like how do you feel like that fits into like the the disconnecting, like so the fuck what if it happens? Like is it the
Yeah.
same or is it different?
I think it's another piece of playing with it. It's taking the intensity off of like off of yourself and off of like and taking the pressure off and going, okay, God, you'll make this happen. There's so many ways for this to happen. Like God, my universe, my guides, like if this is the place you want me to be, I did that. I mean, I've done that with a lot of things, but there was actually a retreat. This is way back. This is long before I really understood manifesting. Um, it was the retreat was actually over Jimmy's birthday weekend. So I was like, well, I don't think I can go to that. But he was going to be working and all this kind of stuff, and we were going to celebrate a different time frame anyway. And the wait list was like 24 people deep on it. And I was like, there's no way that I'm going to this. It was a spiritual retreat. And basically I had submitted my name. I don't know exactly. I can't remember. This is a long time ago. This is like 2013, 2014, something like that. So it's been a long while. So I don't remember all the details, but essentially I was like, well, if I'm meant to go, there's all these things that are little prudential barriers to going. But if this is the group I'm meant to be with, and if this is when I'm meant to go, it'll all work out. And I was like number 24 on the wait list, you know, like, and it's not that big of a retreat. 24 does not go, you know, and something occurred. And I mentioned it to the person I was with who had recommended it to me. She made a phone call. The next thing I know, they bumped because of something, whatever that had occurred, messing up me, like something, like not getting my email, something. They bumped me to the top of the wait list instead of the bottom. And within an hour, I was in. And that's how I handled it. I was just like, if I'm meant to go to this, like, I'm okay either way. Like, if this is like a way that I word it now is if this is to my highest benefit and to the benefit of others, because that was not just about me, it's about all the other people I was in the retreat with, and then everything that we did moving forward for like because we hosted the next retreat and then did all this other stuff, you know, like these people were very involved with my in my life for like 2 years, you know, like it wasn't just about me, it was also about them and our interactions together and all this kind of stuff. So with things like that especially, I'm like, okay, if this is of the highest service for me and for them, then I know that like this doesn't have to be a pressured situation, you'll make it happen. Like I know it gets to work out. If this is something soul path oriented, then it just gets to work out. And so it's just another it's I like both ways of playing with it, and you can play both ways. Like some moments, if it feels better to be like, so the fuck what? If I don't go, then I'm not meant to go right now. Or like, so the fuck what? It like, you know, there's multiple opportunities for this. Um, I know somebody, this is not my story. Um, but I think it's a good one. There was somebody like years ago. I actually worked with both people. But there was somebody she was wanting to work with. She manifested the money 3 different times, ended up utilizing it in different ways, but finally, by the third time that she manifested the money, she then started working with that person, and then all this, you know, all this other stuff came from there. But it's like there's also not the one shot. It's like, okay, so say I manifest the funds and then I need them for something else or whatever else, like, you know, it means it's not my one shot to receive whatever the amount is. Like, say it's like, I don't know how much it is, but say it's like 2,500. It's like, well, of course you can receive 2,500 over and over and over again, you know, like it's not your one shot. And so it like it also opens up to taking that pressure off and going, there's always a means and a way if it's my next, you know, the next step that's meant to like come to me. And then I also agree with like not being like crazy passive about the whole thing, but like, you know, still doing your part and doing your steps and checking in with yourself and all these kind of things. But like, you know, oh, I just saw you're writing. Nothing means anything about what I and about what I receive and when I receive it. Yes. Yeah. Nothing has to mean anything about it. And like, oh, good. Yes. And I like that you love that too. Yeah. It's not your one shot. You can do things over and over again. Like, I think sometimes we as humans, we get very into like, well, that was the one opportunity. And it's like, oh, no, it wasn't. Like, do your shit, show up, be whoever you need to be, all this kind of stuff. Like, work on yourself, actively work on moving forward, all the things. But there's always more opportunities. Like, I know because of the guidance that I was getting, I've been open enough about this. In December, I was hearing things and receiving things about the guy that I'm now dating. I did not know it was him, but I know when I'm hitting a timeline that I've already pushed off for a while. So if I'm hitting a timeline, so this like if you believe in divine timing or not, or like whatever else, whatever. If things apply, take them. If they don't apply, don't take them. I believe there's windows and different opportunity windows for things. I believe that there's, again, not one shot for things like, or like you had this one day to meet this one person and you didn't go. So, like it's like, but I do believe that there are windows that serve us better and that are kind of in time frames where you start getting forced into directions that maybe you weren't taking. I've had this happen to me a number of times. I've let it be less aggressive at this point, like because I do know God and the universe knows how to make me move. When I was in my first real job, like I had to go through excruciating amount of pain to finally leave the job to then jump into where I was meant to be next. It was because I was being pushed. It's like the timeline was hitting, and it was like, yeah, this isn't important, like to forever, but you need to get going. So sometimes it'll be like pushed forward a little bit more. And that's what was happening in December. Like, I mean, I received direct messaging when I asked for it. I've received it a lot of times I haven't asked for it, but like in December, because I kept debating putting off the divorce even longer when I'd specifically heard in October, we'd already been given that like a year and all this kind of stuff. We'd already given it 2 years at this point. In October, I heard that, basically now it's time to get the divorce. And then I decided to put it off. And so then by December, I'm getting like aggressive messaging, like, like, all like constant signs, like readings. Like I love Chris Corsini. I don't know if you guys follow him or not. Like I was getting I felt like stumbled on something on his. I wasn't even searching for him. It was just the next YouTube video that popped up that had to do like it was a reading that was basically stuff I needed to hear about it, and then I was receiving direct messaging and all. It's all to move me forward. Like my favorite explanation. This is not mine. It was a friend gave this to my friend Dawn many years ago, but like our life's kind of a beautiful tapestry. Like it doesn't have to be like a set way. It can turn out beautifully in many ways. So there's different like gold balls on the tapestry that are like kind of where you're meant to hit, or like things that you've agreed to experience. Is that my favorite way of saying it? Things you've agreed to experience. Like I do believe that like the guy I'm dating and we are both going through it. I heard that. And I'll check with him before I like give too many details about things, but like I heard that we were both like supposed to be getting a divorce and basically helping each other during this time. Like I know this is a soul contract that he and I had. I could feel it. I could feel it from like, I won't say the moment I met him, but from the moment I had a certain conversation with him and I thought we were just gonna be friends. Like I knew there was like a soul contract there of being together, and like helping each other through all this and all that kind of stuff. And that was on a timeline, it wasn't, again, it didn't like, but we were reaching and I hope this all makes sense. We were both kind of reaching this point in the timeline where it was time to move forward, so there's things became more urgent. And so like, it's not, and again, you believe what you want to believe, take away whatever you want to take away, but it's just, again, there's not like, it's not like, oh, you had this one opportunity to meet this person or receive this money or do this whatever, it's like, well, no, there's always other ways. There's always other ways. There's always other means. Like if he and I hadn't met the way that we met, like I know there would have been another means for us to meet, there would have been another opportunity would have presented itself to make sure that this occurred, like instead it was I mean, it's a funny story, but I'll go on that on another time. But it's just, it all gets to work out. And when you remind yourself in your mind, like on the like right now, I have a lot extra on my plate at the moment. It's gonna start falling off very soon. Like the divorce will be done soon. And then I have a lemon law case with my car that hopefully that'll get worked out sooner rather than later. Actually, I don't even care. I just want to I just want to deal with at some point. I haven't cared about that one as much because I'm like that all the other things on my plate, at least I had a vehicle to drive. They were keeping me in loaner vehicles. So I'm like, well, at least I have something to drive. Like that'll get dealt with when it needs to get dealt with. And like as I have more things fall off, like, that'll be great. But one of the things that I remind myself now is like it'll all work out. Like it's all gonna work out. Every time my brain starts stressing about anything or feeling like, like overwhelmed, like the mantra that I keep repeating to myself is it will all work out. It'll all be fine. And 6 years from now, you won't even remember this, so it's not worth the wrinkles in your forehead. Like I keep feeling my forehead like scrunching. And I'm like 6 years from now, you won't know. And it's like it's not worth the wrinkles. It's not worth it. And so these are like the mantras I repeat to myself. And Callie, specific to your stuff around this, allowing yourself to receive or, allowing yourself into this course, it's like it'll all work out. It'll all work out. It'll either be now or it'll be later or whatever I'm meant to receive will come in another way or whatever it is. Like it'll all work out. It all gets to work out. Okay, I see that you're popping on again. Yay. It's nice to see your face again. Was that helpful? Oh, Jess, I see your face now. Do either of y'all have anything you want to say after that? Anything else you want me to elaborate on or anything new you want me to chat about? I know my tangents do go, you guys know this. My tangents go off because whatever keeps flowing through, I'm like, somebody needs it. Like, I do trust that at this point. So.
Just the wrinkles thing that makes me laugh because my husband sometimes he'll like start doing this when I'm like upset about something. He's like, stop scrunching your forehead. So just reminded me of that. I'm like, and then I'm like, but you're right.
Be mad about this later.
Yeah, like, man, should have listened to you sooner. But no, that all makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I do this to myself because like I've noticed myself scrunching. Like I never did. My brother has a deep line through here. He's younger than me. He has a deep, deep line right here. I've never done that. I've always had like a little bit of a line, or not always. Since my early 20s, had a little bit of a line here. But I've noticed that with just everything that's been going on, just everything that's been on my plate and all this kind of stuff. I've noticed this scrunchingness, and I do the same thing. I just touch and remind. And it's not worth it. I touch and like, and it's also like a tapping point right there too. So sometimes I'll just sit there and like kind of tap for a second if I can. If I'm more in public, I'll just touch and like just lightly touch it, which still kind of gives a little bit of that feeling. And it helps it relax. So then it just reminds like this is not. And another mantra that I've used since like I was like 23, 24 is like, this is not worth a stroke. Like the amount of stress or whatever it is, like it's not worth a stroke. It's not worth me like going through that process for this, like for whatever it is. And typically it's because there's other people involved. I do think, and I don't know why this is coming up, but most of the time our stressors, they're not like if it was just us, there was nobody else, no one else involved, no one else's opinions, no one else's thoughts. Like I know a lot of my stressors would be like gone. Oh, I see that. High blood pressure. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of times I remind myself, I'm like, okay, are you stressing because this is actually about you and something you're afraid of? Or are you afraid of how the reaction of another person will be or an interaction with another person will be? I know like one thing that my brain has been circling lately, I'm like, this person is not even thinking about this. It's like a work thing. It's not that big of a deal, but like, I'm like, this person is not thinking about this at all. This is on the bottom of her plate, but you're moving it to the top of your plate. And I'm like, you're worried about that? Like, are you really going to continue to focus on what this other person's 5-minute reaction to you might be? Like, is that really what we want to create wrinkles with and lack of sleep with and acne with and like everything else? It's like, is that really how we want to do this? And like, and going, okay, like if you're that worried about another person, then you're putting them too much on a pedestal in your life. And it's okay to have emotions around people. Like this has been another lesson in my year, like something that and this is something I'm actively working on. I've had a lot of one of the interesting things there's people that are shutting out of my life. I knew when you make a decision to get a divorce, like, that like things are going to dramatically change. There's people that will not stay, but there's been ones that have been shutting out of my life that I never expected, in ways that I never expected. And there's been many moments where I've like, been, sad or grieving or whatever. And that's all totally acceptable. But it's going, does this person and their like what they think or what they view or whatever, is this really worth more than my sanity and my love for myself? Is this worth more?
Nope.
No, not at all. Like, not at all. Is this stress that I'm encompassing into my body because of this other being that's like just another human? And they are where they are. Like one of the things that I've had to deal with a lot over the past, like, especially about 6 months is like going, this is just where this person is. Yes, they were friends with you, but they were never coached by you. They were never in the realm and worlds that you were in. They loved your energy, being in your energy, but they never really took any knowledge you gave them and did anything with it, which I can't force that. There's a lot of people around me that have ample opportunity for these kind of things and they don't take advantage of it. And that's not why I'm there with them either. Like I'm there because they're just another person in my life. And I have to remind myself, like, this is where this person is, whether it's somebody that was friends with, or whether it's just that like somebody from work or somebody, whatever, it's going, okay. Yeah. Proximity. Yeah. It's like, okay, this person this is where their soul is. Like I used to talk about this a lot years ago. Like our souls are all on different levels. We're just on different growth levels. And one level's not better than another. Like just like a kindergartner isn't less than a 12th grader. Like one level's not better than the other. You just accept this is where this person is. If this is how this person's reacting, if this is how this person is acting, if this is how they're taking things, they're just coming from their own fears, perceptions, and whatever else. And none of it has to mean anything. And it doesn't mean anything about you. And one of the hardest things is releasing it and letting it go. Releasing it and going like, okay, this doesn't have to matter. This doesn't have to have meaning to me. This doesn't have to affect my day, my life, my stress. And then again, it's not always easy, but like one of the ways that one of the fun ways I do that is sit here and like tap, like, and Luz said earlier, I did want to say, like, she said her favorite tapping point is her third eye because it's so relaxing. Like, it's what she said. And they're all good. Like, they're all good. And it's all sometimes just what you need. And I'll even tap. This isn't an official point, but sometimes I'll just tap behind my ears. Like, no one's proven anything about that, but that's like where your sinus, like, you have like, your sinus tubes kind of drain down that way. And so I'll literally feel, I have a lot of sinus issues. And if I sit there and tap, like not only will my body end up like kind of relaxing and acclimating, but I'll feel like all this drainage or things like open up, like and I'm not saying any of that's medically anything, but like, it's just another place to sit there and go, okay, does this matter? Does this matter? Is this helping me feel any better? Is this helping me do any good? Is this moving me forward in any way? That's a really big key. Is this helping my life get better in any way? Is this moving me forward in any way? And sometimes the answer with that might be yes, it's propelling me forward to do the shit I'm not doing. Like it's forcing me to take care of myself. It's forcing me to go, this isn't a great fit and it's time to move on. It's forcing me to go like analyze it versus like just sleepwalking through everything. It's forcing me to go, okay. Like I know one thing that I've been seeing in my life lately is I feel it because I was like, okay, maybe I'm supposed to keep taking the next year to do whatever. And I could feel like, nope, you had your year. Like, it's time to show the fuck up again. And I wanted to do that. I felt myself being ready and available and wanting to really, like, not just show up on the tiny scale for the people that I've loved working with, over the past year, but like showing up again in a bigger way. I felt my energy being prepared for that and ready for that. And I was willing to like kind of keep sitting on the sidelines for a bit and just kind of like let these last few things fall off. And I got a big like nope. And then like on top of that nope was like, we're gonna make sure that you have some great motivation. Like, whether like, and the motivation comes in many forms. Some of the motivation was people reaching out like or like wanting to learn things or saying they miss things. And like other motivation was like, we're going to make this little thing over here kind of painful, because we know when we make this painful, then you go, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be doing this, and you show the fuck up. Like, and it's like anytime I ignore any like, or not ignore what I truly desire, what I feel called to do or whatever else, like even back to like what we were going over with Callie, like it's like, nope, here we're gonna go. We're gonna show the fuck up now. Like here's everything you need to do on a platter. Here, we're making this very easy for you on a platter. Here we go, or we're gonna make this really painful over here. So you remember how much you miss this, or like how much you want this, or like how much you're willing to work for it now, how much you're willing to like put in the time and energy where you weren't putting in time and energy. It's all these fun things to help kind of play with us to get us to move towards those little gold balls I was talking about. But
I had
anyway,
a thought.
yeah.
I don't know, because I don't know how long you're planning on going, but so I'm in the stay-at-home mom world and have been for like 3 years or whatever. And so I've been thinking lately like what I want to do and like where I'm like, I don't know. And the world is my oyster right now, right? And so
Right.
like
Equal opportunity.
how do you sorry for all the noise in the background. The manifesting of the unknown, sort of like, and narrowing down and figuring out like what it is you do or don't want. Like, is that enough
That's
to
pretty
go on?
Oh, I can literally go on that one for a long time. So I'll try not to. So very first, one, just start doing. If like going, what do I want, what I not want? Okay, so when you sit here in a little bubble and you're just thinking, what do I want, what do I not want? Sometimes but sometimes you think you want something until you have it. And then you're like, oh, fuck, that's not what I wanted. That's not the order I was wanting. And like you said, right now you have ample opportunity. If there's things that you think that you might want to do, you have a great opportunity to go play in them. Whether that's like, say it's a career option you want, like, one of my friends has this great opportunity at the moment where she's able to just play. She was debating if she wanted to become a realtor. She just went and followed around one of her friends for 2 days, and went and just experienced it and went and goes, do I like this? Do I not like this? Do I get excited over it? Jess, did you ever do your human design, or have you ever done your human design chart? I'm guessing not.
Sorry, I was trying to find my mute, but no,
Yeah, I
have
didn't
not.
think.
I'm like, what is that?
Okay, so in human design, I am a manifesting generator. So for me, I have a sacral response of a yes or no. And I tend to teach this a lot because it's still a good way, like you can still kind of figure out what you want from it. But if you happen to be a generator or a manifesting generator, which I can either run a chart, or I have friends that do like great chart readings and all this kind of stuff, but essentially just on your basic figuring it out, like there's a great app and stuff too I can reference, but essentially for me, one of the ways that I can just ask myself, like, and I get a yes or a no. Or if I go do something, or if I could just get moving, I get a yes or a no. And what I try to tell people to do a lot of times too is like going, okay, like go figure out what the first thing is that feels good. Like if you go for a walk and you're just walking, like I know for me, like if I go for a walk over out of the beach, like loads of ideas will come. If I'm not intentionally trying to do anything, or if I go for a run, loads of my posts that used to be on like Instagram and Facebook, I was trying to run. I was not trying to write posts. I went for a run, and then inevitably I'd get this like train. I'd have to like stop and jot it all down, and like, this train, and then I'd start and jot it. I mean, and there's many of those like unfinished ones on my phone still, but like I just like go for a walk and go, okay, what kind of feels like you're in a light energy at that point? Like go for like a relaxed walk, be in a light energy, and then kind of feel like, okay, if there was just something I could like play with tomorrow, no pressure. Again, back to the no pressure. Like you're not going to fuck it up. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's no one shot, there's no up, I chose this, now I can't choose that. It's literally just going, okay, no pressure here. If I could go play with something tomorrow, what would I play with? And then see if there's a way to do that. Like if there's a way to be like, okay, if if I'm debating between maybe these 5 things at the moment, which of these 5 things, like think about like even if you're like especially looking at career path stuff, I tell people to go, all right, what does the day-to-day actually look like? And is that conducive to who you are as a human? I was really attracted to journalism. And one of the things I loved about journalism, like I was editor of my high school newspaper and all this kind of stuff. That was actually a goal of mine at one point, very long stories. But part of what I loved about it was the fact that it was on my timeline, my schedule. You weren't sitting in one spot all day. I don't function very well when I have to do that. I hate being in the same location for 8 hours unless I'm choosing it. Like that does not suit me very well. And so like if I was doing this, if I was sitting there going, okay, like I don't know what I want to do, but I know that I definitely don't want to sit at a desk like taking phone calls or being on the phone for 8 hours. Like that would not be that would drain my being and drain my soul. Like that would not suit me very well. And so it's like, okay, anything with that option is just out. Because right now, like you said, there's no pressure, there's no have to, there's no I need to go figure out something in the next 2 weeks, or month or whatever. It's just literally a game you get to play right now. And so you just play with, okay, does this sound fun? Does that sound fun? Like, and you can also go like, okay, maybe none of these options sound, maybe like I have zero idea of what I really want at all. And one of the things that I love that I learned from Oprah is like, okay, knowing what you don't want is a good start too. Like just going, okay, what do I not like? If you're in this ambiguous state, you literally can't even think of something to start with. Like, like, and we could always do like a one-on-one call or something if you want to really play in like deeper with that. We can go, you can tell me a few things now if you want to too. But like play with them and go, okay, if I don't, none of these sound good, none of this sounds good. I feel like I'm just in this ambiguous state. Sit here and go like, okay, what do I definitely not want to do? Like, what did I do before that I hated? Like, what was the thing that made me like so excited for Friday that I couldn't
Well,
wait?
yeah, I would say like having my own time.
Mhm.
So I've thought about like volunteering, and then like my dad having, which I was going to talk to you about this stuff too on a personal level, but because my dad had cancer, and he passed away a few years back, and so um something that has to do with that and like helping other people or like that kind of stuff. But I'm like, like, so I have like little snippets of like, I want to do this, I want to make a difference, I don't want to like work for the man like 9 to 5 like you said in an office or whatever. And so I'm just like, what, like how do I put all these little things together and find something? And then kind of what you've always said before is like, you just think about it, and like you manifest it. Like I don't even know what it will be, but the right thing will come to me if you do your stuff, as you say.
Yeah, if you keep moving forward. And even still, like, so one of the things that came up with that is like, okay, well, I very initially actually, so like actually I'm losing the one thing that came, it'll come back in a second. So very initially I'm like, okay, well, maybe find a thing to volunteer with first. You can also, oh, this is what it was kept coming through. You can create something, but you're not necessarily gonna know what to create right now. So just start doing something. Like, so if you just start moving forward and go, okay, I know that this is something I like, because like, even helping with a support group or helping like, volunteering right now for like I know where my dad gets his treatments. They have some awesome volunteers and stuff there that are just, they're there. Like, I mean, they have to go through a process to do it. But they're there for the patients like while they're there, and like, I can't remember all the stories that like, oh, you're so welcome, Callie. You're so welcome. Um, but I can't remember all the stories that he's told me, but essentially, that's it. That is a role, and right now, like, yeah, it's not necessarily a paid role, but it puts you around paid roles that maybe you might be interested in, or it puts you around people that maybe have
It's
a connection. Okay, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it's funny because I signed up for one of the organizations to be a volunteer, and the first like job thing that had come up was actually like a scholarship reviewer. Like I would be like I would review the entries that the people put in to get like a scholarship. And so I'm like, so I've kind of done that in one area, but like, the organization's not around where I'm at. So I'm like, I don't know how that would work out, but it's something, right? Like
Right.
it's
Well,
just doing something.
and one of the things that I've had to tell myself at times is like, it's just a conversation. Like you applying for something and having a conversation. Cause I think especially as women, a lot of times we're like, oh, this doesn't seem like what I want. I'm not even gonna apply for it. I'm not even gonna do it. And it's like, well, sometimes just having that interview and that conversation, one sees is if it is an option and in alignment. I was offered a job this summer that they'd never done remote time and a flexible schedule with any of their employees, but because they wanted me. It was the job I was talking about earlier that I manifested that like I didn't take that because the next day I manifested something even better, and so anyway, because I left. Oh, actually, this is a great thing to talk about too. So I went on this interview. I did this interview. My phone was blowing up for this job. I went on this interview. I really thought that I was going to take the position, but when I left, I was like, something doesn't feel totally in alignment. And I was like, or not, it wasn't in alignment. It just didn't feel like something I wanted necessarily. And I was like, what is it that I would really want? And I was like, well, I really want more remote time. I really want more money than they were offering. Like they were still offering more, but I was like, I really want more, and the next day I had an offer for that, and it was like, so then I took that instead. And so like sometimes just allowing yourself the opportunity to have a conversation, to be in an environment and to open up to opportunities opens you up to more opportunities. And it opens you up to also going like, okay, like one, like I said, you never know what people are willing to offer. Like you really don't until you're there. And then on top of that, it opens you up to have something to respond to. This is something about being like, if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, if you have something to respond to, then you're easier to give you like yourself yes and no, or I want this, I don't want this. But I don't know if you're a generator or manifesting generator or not. So I can't say whether that's your best bet or not. But just having that response and having that time and being able to be like, okay, this is something that I want, but I don't want it in this way, or I want something different. And also being open to maybe like playing with something that's maybe not exactly what you want. Like it's okay to like take something and be like, I don't know this is exactly what I want, but maybe it might put me in a place to be where I want, or help give me the ideas or the resources or connections. My very first job, I was really annoyed because they did not tell me that I was going to be going through to two different places. I thought I was just helping out. I was told I was going to help out this other dietitian. They never said you're going to be in two places. Like, and so, and you're going to be in charge of this building, basically. Like, I was very new to all of this stuff. I had no idea. So I was a little put out and annoyed because I was like, I have plenty to do at this other place. It's closer to where I live. It's nicer and all this kind of stuff. And I remember having this very annoyed energy. And I heard, you don't know where this is going to lead. And in that moment, I was like, you're right. I need to put away my sourpuss energy like, and just be open to new opportunities and where this is going to lead. And where it led was me doing contract work and moving to Florida and doubling my income overnight and doing and having my workload and all this kind of stuff. Like it led to really awesome stuff, but I had to be open to doing something I wasn't initially like, oh no, it's not the perfect thing. And a lot of times we won't always manifest the perfect thing very first. Like it depends on what you're open to and what your normal is. Sorry, she was chewing on my pillow, so I had to pick her up. you got to be aware of where your normals are and where your normal vibrations are. Because I do see a lot of times where people are like, well, I'm wanting better and I'm wanting higher, but you're not allowing yourself to stare up higher. Like it's not in your, like, you want it, but it's not in your believability or your normalization yet. You're just not there yet. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just you're working on getting there. So it's okay to like be like, okay, well, this is obviously the better I've allowed for now. I did this with my career with not being around toxic people anymore and working closer to home and all this kind of stuff. Like, I stepped up. Like, I believed that I got to have like at least a nicer environment and nicer people to a point, and then I believed I got to work closer to home. And then I believed, all these things. And like, and that's where like I stepped up, but I couldn't I was not in a place from going from a super toxic environment that also felt really gross to me to suddenly working in this gorgeous environment where people were really nice to me. That was just not where I was. And so, and I know that's just it's kind of like it's not a direct applying example, but it is kind of where you're going, okay, so what's the next better? What's the next thing? And I can keep going up from here. Oh, this is weird. Oh, you know what? Oh, there's another Jessica hopping on. I'm almost at let's see. Hi, Jess. Up there she is. Hi, Jessica. There's another Jessica here right now too. Can you hear me? Hey. I saw your face for a second. Oh no, I can't hear you. It says you're connected to audio, but it's not letting me hear you. Try talking again. Oh, nope. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. I don't know why it's not. Oh, there it goes.
Okay,
There
sorry.
we are.
Hi.
Hi. We're towards the end of the call now, but I'm so happy to see your face and that you hopped on.
Oh my gosh, I got the time wrong because I'm in Kentucky.
Oh,
That-
that's right. 'Cause you're at 7. Oh my gosh, you're in Central Time.
I literally just thought about that
I
this
didn't-
moment.
I didn't even think about that when I told you the time. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I've been doing that like crazy because most of my stuff is like Eastern. Like I've been doing that a lot. So I guess I should be used to it by now. Literally.
Do what?
Is the
Yeah.
call recorded?
Yeah, the recording will go out. I'll put it up in the next day or two. The call, will go up on YouTube, so you'll get the recording.
Ah, I'm so mad. I just got done at the gym and I was like, I'm gonna make it like just in time. Okay, well, we'll try again.
Right.
Try again.
I'm on for a
Next
few
time.
more minutes. I can stay on for a little bit longer. Yeah, it's so funny. We were like literally wrapping up. Jess is the last one on here, and then I was like, oh my gosh, Jessica's coming on too. So there's 2 Jessicas right now.
Oh, okay.
That's so
Well,
pretty.
so who's else? Oh, hi, another Jessica. Hello.
Yeah. So, but
How's it going?
Good. You?
Daphne's saying hello.
Oh my goodness. Hello.
I know. But
Oh my
yeah, I was talking about so we were talking about like career stuff. Actually, it's funny. I actually mentioned you. With this is the Jessica who actually like followed around a realtor. She's trying to decide kind of what she feels like doing now. And
Yeah.
and so she's just playing with it. She's traveling a ton. She's doing lots of awesome stuff. And she's
Literally ridiculous. I'm ridiculous right now.
it's
It's
amazing. It's so amazing. She keeps going to like those awesome places. I'm like, I love it. I live vicariously through it right now. So
I figured it out eventually, but right now it's fun.
yeah, and that's just it. So actually, this is perfect. Jessica. So Jessica is actually who I was referencing. She's literally just having fun figuring it out. She's
Yeah.
not worried. She's in a similar boat of like just like world is her oyster. She can figure it out. And so that's what she's doing. She's been traveling a ton.
Yeah.
She's getting like random like remote work at times, and then like she
Yeah.
won't take it at times, and like
Yeah.
and it's just like, yeah, you just got back from Aruba, you're about to go to Kansas. She's been in Ibiza, she's been in like Where was the lake at? Where was the lake of?
Oh, the Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I'm like, no, I think you're making that up. It's the Lake of the Ozarks.
No,
Mm.
it was
It's so
great.
funny because we just went to Aruba also.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Stop it. Did you really?
Yeah, it was middle to end of September.
Are you obsessed with it? Like, do you love it?
It was so great. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, like I'm gonna live there.
Yeah, she's like never said that about anywhere. And Jess is like, I'm gonna live in Aruba. I'm like, great, I can't wait. Like,
Months or something.
I'm gonna come visit. Be fantastic.
Why not?
Yeah. So
What
so-
else if I get to live in Aruba?
right? So again, like this all goes into the whole like everything that I was saying. Like it just right now just playing with things and going, okay, like I can go test drive this. Like, is this really what I want? I can go play with this and not expecting it to be exactly right the first time. Like it's okay if it's like, well, I played with that and that's not what I fucking want, you know? Like it's just like you just release it and let it go and move on to the next thing and like go, okay, did I gain something out of it? And then also always reminding yourself, you never know what skills it's going to give you and where it's going to lead. Like there's so many things. Like for a while, I thought I was just flaky. I didn't know I was a manifesting generator. I thought I just was becoming flaky all of a sudden. And what it really was is I was building up all these skill sets. I was meeting all these people. I was doing all these things, and they were all leading, like constantly leading to like my next. But like on paper, it looks like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's just like allowing yourself that space to play and space to go, okay, what do I want? What do I want out of this experience? What do I not want out of this experience? And especially when you don't know, giving yourself the grace to not know and go just be in the vibration. Another thing that I tell people to play with is just being in the vibration of what feels good. Like maybe you know that you don't want like a normal job or whatever. So being in the vibration of like, okay, I know that I want to have more flexibility to my day. How does that feel? When I have days that I have a lot of flexibility in my day, Daphne's kind of on the end. We're gonna wrap this up in a minute because we're towards the end. Yeah. So she's been so good the whole call. I know. But she like, you know, it's going actually let me try to give her her toy. Maybe she'll play with her toy. There we go. But it's going, okay, like what is the vibration of how I want it to feel? And just sitting in I'm allowing myself to receive that. Like, that's how I've also like at times manifested a lot more ease and things like that. I've just sat in the vibration of like, I want to have all my work done in like 2 hours and have the rest of the time to play. And I've sat in the energy of how that feels. And I have examples of that from my past that I pull that energy from. Like there was one place that I worked that I would go to, I would do my Target trip. I'd go to lunch, I'd go to Target, like do whatever. And all my work still got done and it was no big deal. And I took this massive break in the middle of the day because my brain needed it. I did work in the morning, I did work in the afternoon, and then I went home, you know, and then that way I wasn't doing like my Target trip after work when you're exhausted and all that kind of stuff. So I manifested that ease in that day and that flexibility that fit me better at that time frame. And so like I know how that feels. I can play with that again and allow myself to manifest a version of that again. And then of course the big thing is not getting like, I know we talked about attachment a little bit earlier, but like not getting afraid of letting go what no longer fits. Like nothing new is definitely going to come in. So not being afraid of what no longer fits and letting that let itself go and just trusting is really hard. Like trusting like can be, especially like when financial stuff is involved, like trusting can be really hard, but it's leaning in and going, I trust that the next thing's showing up for me. I trust that when this no longer feels right and are in alignment, that the next right thing is coming my way. And that I get to lean in and receive that. And I get to trust that when something's falling away, I don't need to stress about it. Like I talked a little bit about like friendships and things that are kind of disappearing like in my life and things that have changed that things I knew were going to change, things I didn't know were going to change. And like, I've trusted one of the things that I'm leaning into with that is trusting that, you know, the friendships and relationships I need in my life are they're there right now and new ones are coming and even better ones are coming, you know, like I've throughout my life, I've like regularly manifested awesome friends. Like I set an intention in high school that I wanted friends that were more the level of the human that I was in a friendship. And then I've allowed myself to like receive and receive and receive that over the years. Like, and it's sad some of the people that are no longer in my life now, but like the people that I do have are fucking amazing. And like, I know I get to receive more. So the moments that I'm grieving, and I'm using this as an example because it's just a current example for me. There's moments that I'm grieving the loss there, like the loss that I didn't expect to lose. But then I also allow myself to go, even better is coming. Even better is coming forward. So when you're like looking at something and you're like, well, this isn't, you say you end up in something that's not the right fit, or say you jump forward and you played in like a career option or a job and you're like, well, this sucks. I've committed to this. This is, whatever. And it's like, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. And you like, we go through like grief emotions for a lot of things. That's something that we do grieve that we don't like openly talk about a lot of times. We grieve like the decision-making process sometimes even, like, cause it's like, well, I had so many options then, and now I have this option and no other option and whatever else, and it's like, well, it's okay. Again, there's not just one shot for everything. And two, like, it's okay. You can allow for another better to come in. This isn't the end all be all. Even better, the next can come in, and you can trust that the next coming in, and you can allow the what's not serving you to fall away. Like, and it's okay to be sad of maybe some of the things that you do think are good about that thing to fall away, but you can trust that better's coming in. Does all that make sense? Because I know I use different examples that don't totally apply to career stuff and everything else, but does all that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yay.
Yes.
Well, that was perfect timing on that, really, Jess. Okay, good. I get your thumbs up, Jess, too. Awesome. Yeah, that was like a perfect time for you to hop on the call, really. There's a lot of other good stuff in the beginning. I hate that I didn't think of this shadow on me because I don't see myself big until about halfway through this. So this will be a not so cute little replay, but
What shadow? What is it?
oh, you don't see this big shadow over my face? Is it
Oh, like,
on the oh, okay.
I mean, like, it's not bad.
Okay, well, that's good.
I don't know. I didn't really notice it.
Oh, that's okay. Earlier this afternoon, I was like, I had perfect light coming in when I like tested my Zoom stuff, and then I was like, oh, this is not good anymore. I've never had to do Zooms in this house or this apartment. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, hopefully people just turn on the audio on YouTube. So like, oh my goodness. But
Glad I
anyway,
got the last 10 minutes.
I know, me too. Me too. Do you guys have anything else before I hop off? Daphne's occupied with her toy for a minute, so I can have like 3 to 5 minutes more if you guys need it.
I don't know. Everything you were saying makes sense. I'm like crazy right now. I'm like a crazy person, so I don't know if I'm the best person to talk to.
You're a crazy person. You can ask any questions.
I don't care about anything right now. Like, literally, I don't know what I'm doing anything in my life.
Attitude to have, though. You always have a good so just so everybody knows, anyone watching this or watching the replay or whatever, like, she's an awesome fucking manifester. I have like watched this girl literally, like, she'll like create a business or have an idea, or like she'll be like, I just want some more clients or whatever, and they like come out of the woodwork, like, or she's like debating, like, I don't know that I really want to do this, but I'll take some money, and like people will just message her out of nowhere. Like, she's an awesome manifester. She's on all these experiences she's having right now. This is all like, she just set an intention of like traveling, and like she's been like to so many awesome places lately, and it's not like with really fun experience behind it. It's not like she's sitting here pouring out loads of money for all of it either, too. Like, she's had some awesome, really cool experiences that have just fallen into her lap in a way, and it's always fun to see. Those things always make me happy to see.
It is true. The less that you like, if you're just like, I really don't care, like, if anything works, like, I don't care if I get work, I don't care if I go anywhere, like, it's when things happen.
Yeah, it's truly like, which actually is perfect way to wrap this up, because that's what I was talking about earlier in the call of like taking the pressure off. If you're like, so the fuck what, so it doesn't matter, so the fuck what, then suddenly there's not that attachment there. When we have attachment energy, like, this must be the right next career move, this must be where I get my money, this must be whatever, that attachment energy will actually push away other things. We got about a minute. Sure, like so that
Oh.
attachment energy is so like it'll screw you up a lot of times, but the less you care when you don't make it mean, when you don't make anything mean, like or not, it's not even meaning, but it's source of happiness, source of energy, source of like if you're not making anything your source of what you want to receive, and you know that there's endless opportunities for how you can receive that. Like I again, I think a reason that I manifested my current boyfriend really fast was like I was not trying to date and I didn't fucking care and I just knew the relationship I eventually wanted, but I wasn't trying to date anybody. And this is I know people, a great example of this a lot of times too is when women are trying to get pregnant, like they go through the adoption process, they're adopting a baby and then suddenly they're pregnant. There's no pressure there. There's no stress there anymore. There's no I must make this happen and then suddenly it happens, like it's then allowing yourself in that receiving mode and it's amazing. So on that note, she is feisty now. She did so good. You did so good. You did so good. We've been on here for an hour and 20 minutes and you've been so good. So I know. Say look at little Daphne. Little Daphne. Thank you. So on that fun note, anything else, any final things y'all want to say or anything before we hop off?
Just that I love you. I miss you. I'm glad I got to see your face.
I know, same.
I was gonna say, glad you're back.
Thanks. Me too. It's been a very interesting year. I'm definitely excited to start talking about a lot of it online and stuff, just for not because I feel the need to like air my life out, but you guys know, like to me, it's always about anything anybody else could like identify with, relate to, and then help them through whatever. But there's been a lot over this past year that I really want to start like just putting out there just to like, just because I think it'll be helpful and beneficial. And I've learned a lot of
All right,
things.
put your stuff on.
I can hear that.
Oh, sorry. I'm like trying to get the kids ready for bed and
You're totally
forgot to
fine.
mute that last time. My bad.
That's all right. You're totally good. But I just want to make sure you knew in case you started like really having to really tell them something. But yeah, I'm glad I'm back too. I'm excited to do more of this. Hopefully, next month. I may be traveling twice next month. That's still up in the air. But I would like to do at least another one next month. And then I want to get into like maybe by the end of the year start doing like some new trainings and things like that, like the pay what you can trainings again and things like that. So, but for now, I just want to show up and chat with everybody that I've missed. So, but yeah. So, all right. Well, I love you guys. Thanks for being here.
I love you. Next time I'll make sure I get the time zone right.
All right, sounds good. I'll make sure you have the right time zone.
Bye. Good.
All right. Bye.
Bye, girl.
Bye. Love you. See ya.
Love you. Bye.